I'm Megan Mitchell. This is my co-host, John Morrison, and you are listening to the True North Racing Podcast.
Ain't no hesitation, got me going crazy. Keep it moving, I'm tuned in to True North Racing Podcast that you need if you got the need for speed. John Morrison interviewing guests in the industry. Hey, short track, stock car racing, gotta get it hype. Saturday night under the lights, hear the engine rooming by. Smell the gas and feel the vibe, going into overdrive. Drop the flag, then the car zooming by. Hey, True North Racing, let's go.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to a new week of the True North Racing Podcast. I'm your host, John Morrison. Joining me, as always, is our amazing co-host, Megan Mitchell. Megan, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you. What'd you get to this weekend?
Not a whole lot. Cleaned my truck this weekend, so that's good. I needed that.
all the winter add-ins of just forgetting garbage was in there and just piling up, and
all my stuff from work just gets tossed in the back. So she's nice and clean now. I'm happy.
You know what? That's funny because I just did that on Thursday as well.
Yeah.
I think I got home and it's like, it's so nice out. I was meant to go inside, shower, and get cleaned up from work and stuff. And also I was like, when are we getting another nice day like this right now? So I was just like, you know what? Screw it. Just fill it up, just clean it out, nice and clean. I got a couple things I got to run. I still have things in my van from Motorama. And I forgot that I had them in there. So Taylor, I'm sorry, we need to find a night to meet up so I can get you back your bins and your chairs back. Wait, what is it? It's been a crazy week in my opinion. Every week's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, the weeks are running together so weird now. It's just first of all, I can't wait till May 6th. Now I'm there now. After looking over a couple things, I may go out April 29th. So I got to sit down this week with Jacqueline. We're going to talk about our schedules and what we are going to be doing this coming race season, where you guys are going to catch us purposely filming I'm going to actually put on a schedule on our website where you can catch Jacqueline and myself. Because Megan, you're already going to be up there. You're in the driver profile. You're good. We know where you're going to be this summer.
Yeah.
Sauble Speedway in Oswego.
Literally.
But if we get a night off, I do think we need to all go to like Merrittville or Sunset. I'm planning to go to Sunset for a night. Go hang out with Morgan Robson Jr., Sarah and Nick at TNT Racing. I'm just trying to. I want to get back there. It's such a cool track. But I'm first of all sorry to everyone who saw our Facebook post yesterday. Megan, you were the first one to call BS on it. But before I think you even got through the post, you're like, "This is BS."
Literally, I would have heard about this. John wouldn't have been able to not say something if this was true.
So yesterday on Facebook, I put out there because yesterday was April Fool's. When we're recording this, it's on April 2nd. So yesterday was April Fool's, and I put out there saying that I was going racing. You know how long? First of all, you know how long it took me to put that up together? It took me like an hour to figure out how the design I wanted to do it, to get the picture right for the photo for it. It was just there was too many factors going on, and it was like under the buzzer of getting it online before 12 p.m.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put up there saying that I was going mini stock racing. That I bought a mini stock, and I was going mini stock racing in 2023 on a part-time schedule. In my mind, it seemed like a legit thought.
Oh yeah.
After thinking it over today, I realized I had a different idea I could have put up. And I could have easily used Dale Millard.
Yeah.
Because I said I could have put out there saying that Dale and myself are sharing a ride this year for, because it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Because people know I got a wedding to pay for.
That's true.
No way am I buying a damn mini stock right now. If I did, there would be a whole other discussion at this household.
Yeah.
But you called BS right away. But I think before you even got through the post, no one else really bought into it. But you know what though? A guy can wish.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to go racing. I think it's always been a passion of mine. But you know what? You never know what's gonna happen. You never know. Maybe there might be a deal that comes up and it works out right for me and them, and you never know what could happen.
Mhm.
So I'm never gonna say never on racing, but it's a highly improbable thing that might happen. But do you have any April Fool's jokes that you've played on the kids at your work? Is there any ones you've played in high school or anything like that you can think of? Or what's the best April Fool's joke that's happened to you?
I've really never played any on the kids at work, which is surprising.
I feel like that's
But
a golden opportunity.
yeah, I'm not that creative when it comes to that stuff, so I'm not too good at it. And I don't know. I really don't think I've ever actually done any real like April Fool's jokes or anything like that.
No?
No, nothing that like really stands out, which is kind of surprising for me and my family. Like,
Yeah. Like that surprises me a lot with how your family is. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. That surprised the hell out of me.
I think it's because we more so do it like on any given day.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really an April Fool's
Every
thing.
day is April Fool's Day.
Literally. So like, yeah.
Honestly, I feel that because there's times I'm talking to people and then I feel like I gotten them way too good.
Mhm.
So then I have to start believing the lie enough to like the joke enough to like continue it.
Yeah.
So we have a guy at work, and I'm not gonna say his name or anything like that, but last week there I was changing the oil on one of the trucks, and he sees me under the truck, emptying the oil, and I'm moving the oil back over to the bin. He goes, "What are you doing with the oil?" I'm like, "Oh, I just emptied out of the truck. I'm just refiltering it. Like I'm just gonna put it right back into the truck. That's the best way to save oil." And he looked at me like,
Oh my god.
I'm like, "Yeah, didn't you know that? It's the best way to filter your oil. It's not really a filter. The filter doesn't do anything." And I have to start like adding stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Huh? That would." I make him start questioning everything that goes on in his life.
Oh my god.
But that's me though. Like I will sit here and like you say something and I will make you try and believe that.
Mm.
If you were to sit here and go 2 + 2 is 4, and I'd be like, "No, it's 5, isn't it? You told me it's 5." Like but I'm just an asshole like that.
I feel like
But
there's probably been a time or two that you've tricked me into thinking something. I'm like, yeah, probably.
probably
Like, I'm gullible though. Like, someone could be like, "Man, you're spelling your name wrong," and I'd be like,
didn't know
"Man,
that.
I better go find my birth certificate because, like, I could be wrong." Like,
That's the thing is I felt I was so gullible growing up. So like you can tell me the sky is blue, and I have to go outside to make sure it's blue.
literally.
Like I'm gonna question every single thing about it until I can prove otherwise. So like, oh, I can't even talk about that on here. That's a conversation I had. Oh, you remember that conversation we had a few weeks ago about the chickens?
Yeah.
Okay, I found something else about that,
Oh boy.
but like a different species of bird.
Oh boy.
So I'm gonna tell you after this. And I'm sorry for everyone.
Okay.
I may put this up on my personal TikTok because it's too good not to share with y'all. So if you guys want to go over to @Jomo932 on TikTok, I will post a video probably later tonight or tomorrow telling that joke or telling what happened. Because to me it's absolutely priceless. But we're gonna fast forward here before we say something that we're gonna regret. Tonight on the program, we are being joined by the 2022 OSCAAR Modified Champion, Andy Kamrath. How exciting is that?
It is.
So Andy has raced almost, it seems like everything underneath the sun. Was dominant in his mini stock days, dominant racing modifieds. We're going to dive into a lot of this stuff tonight on the show. And we got some really good fan questions for our fan question period. So I'm excited to get those questions answered. And as well as because we're going to find out so much more about how he got involved in racing. Essentially all the, talk about the wins he had in mini stocks, even in the modifieds. It is just going to be a great conversation. And, we're going to find out where he wants to go. Because the man is talented. He's a talented wheelman. I've seen him race on numerous occasions. Some of the stuff I'm thinking like I would never do something like that, but he does it, and it's absolutely crazy. So we're excited to have him on in a little bit here. CVMs, Canadian Modified News. There is a general meeting happening. I didn't even write this down. I'm gonna go back over to Facebook. There is a general meeting happening on. Get those videos out of the way. By the way, head over to the Canadian Modified CVM YouTube channel. We have added 2 more videos to our playlist over there. One of an in-car of the 2022 champion, 2020 TJ Marshall. We had a bumper cam on him in the last practice session of the year, and we also wrote in-car after the light display with Scott Tonelli. So we got those 2 videos up on the YouTube channel. Sunday, April 16th at 10:30 a.m. in the VIP tower at Sauble Speedway. We're going to be discussing the upcoming race season. Anyone who wants to come is welcome to. So that's 10:30 a.m. on April 16th at the Turn 1 VIP tower at Sauble Speedway. Over to Sauble. Sauble stuff is coming along. It's looking like it's going to be a good season up there. I'm hoping to make it maybe. This is going to be a conversation Jacqueline and I are going to have a little later on about it. But we may go up the weekday race. Again, I started a new job earlier this year. I'm almost 3 months in now, so thank God. But I may take off the day and do a little boot scoot and boogie up to Sauble. And then come home that night and then go to work the next day. That's going to be a long day, first of all.
Oh, God.
But that's a conversation Jacqueline and I are going to have closer to. That is a tentative schedule date. So if you guys want to go over, if you guys are looking to race Sauble Speedway at all this season, head on over to saublespeedway.ca. Check out the forms and registration underneath the driver and team tab, I think it is. All the information is right there, even rules and everything you guys are going to need for this year. Over to Joe Media. I'm excited because next week we get a new intro. We got a new intro coming next week.
Nice.
I'm excited. This has been something that I've been talking about probably for 6 to 8 months with Megan. It just never trying to find the right person to do it is the problem, right? Because we need to find someone who captivates both of our energies and can turn it into an intro. essentially, in my opinion. Because it's not just me anymore. We got yourself, and well, shit, if it's just something I like, you may not like it, but then you got to roll with it, and that's not cool. So, like the revisions, you're going to be a part of. If there's anything you think we need to add, we're going to add it. But I'm excited because this week we're going to be working together. We're going to get that intro done. We are going to debut it between the two of us first, and then next weekend we'll have the official debut of the new intro. And that means all the effort I just put into a new intro video is going to go out the window. So if anyone I was over the weekend, I found a new app I can use to help create videos and stuff like that, and it's been working great for me. And I've tried it out, and I like the new intro video I put together. I outdated some stuff. I made some stuff better, newer, fantasticer. I know that's not a damn word, so don't come at me. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm hoping to contact a couple more teams this week to maybe see if they would like to come on, if they would like some support from Joe Media in regards to their social media programs for the 2023 season. If anyone is looking for promotions for the 2023 race season, contact us today at joemedia.ca. You can hit our contact page there. You guys can also DM us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, wherever. Feel free to message us, find out what our packages are, and how you guys can get your name on this list for 2023. Because I'm hoping to add maybe one or two more names to that. Other than that, I got nothing else for us this week. Megan, do you have anything you need to add? Nope. Love it. Short, sweet, and simple. Before we get into before we get into this week's video, or not video, but before we get into this week's interview with Andy Kamrath, we're going to have a quick word from our presenting sponsor, Vision 20 Studios. You're diving into Vision 20 Editing. New company with their services providing video editing to get your video perfect and exactly the way you guys are looking for. They also do audio mastering, where they're going to take your audio and make it crisp and clear. They're bringing your vision to life. That is right. At Vision 20 Editing, we want to make sure that your vision comes to life in the way you want it. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at Vision 20 Studios. Now let's get back to the True North Racing Podcast. This week on the True North Racing Podcast, we are sitting down with the instant classic Andy Kamrath. Welcome, Andy.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Busy Sunday, so just winding down a bit.
Absolutely. Well, we're not going to take up too much of your time tonight on the show. How's the off season been going for you?
It's been, to be honest, it's been pretty busy. Between work and race cars and the little guy's race car and Pepper's car and helping out with everything I can. It's been pretty busy off season.
Absolutely. Your son's going to be debuting his junior late model this year, correct?
Yeah, so he's gonna start out kind of part-time this year. Getting him rock and rolling, let him get his feet wet a little bit here, and we'll see how it goes.
So I keep seeing every time someone new is getting someone has their kid starting to race junior late models or getting involved in racing, they always say that 1 foot's out the door for the driver that's already racing. Is that true on your end or no?
I wouldn't say 1 foot's out the door. I would say slowing down. I'm definitely slowing down.
You know what? That nothing wrong with it though, right? Like it's when your kids kind of starts taking over, you want to be there for them, right?
It was even me and the boys got talking about it this week. This is year 24. This is year 24 for me.
Oh wow.
And it's been a long run. I love being around the racing. I think about what it would be like not racing, and it's I don't think I could ever walk away from it completely. So I guess we'll get him started and probably we'll call it continue the disease.
It truly, that's what it is. Cause Megan's the same way. She's the daughter of a past racer. Well, he's a current racer now because he's got a car again, but Megan's grown up in the sport as well. So it's definitely it is a disease when you get into it.
Absolutely, but a good one.
I mean, there's worse things we all could be doing, right?
You're 100% right.
With that being said, in 2023, you're racing the Sunset Speedway modified schedule. So Sunset Speedways came out, I think it was November, December, saying that they're going to be running a modified division. What was your decision to run that schedule?
I heard rumblings of it probably back, even as early as August, September of last year. And all like last year in OSCAAR, we ran 5 times at Sunset Speedway. I literally live a kilometer down the street from Sunset.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
extremely close. So with my little guy getting into racing, I made a commitment to, kind of seeing him along. Not having to travel all across the province is definitely a nice thing. Brian, at that point in time, you know what I mean? He said he was going to do the Sunset thing. I gave my word that I was going to do it. I gave my commitment. I think it's a great deal. I think it's a great thing for home track racing, and that's where we're gonna start in 2023.
Now, with that being said, is there opportunities for you to go run other things, maybe at a different track or even at Sunset Speedway, or are you just going to focus on the modified this year and in your son?
So we're gonna run the full Sunset deal. Probably we'll see how the year goes. I may dabble out a little bit. I've been trying to slow my racing down a bit, but I'm sure between me and the little guy, it's going to stay busy enough throughout the summer. I'm going to be helping Chenoweth out when he's doing the APC tour. I'll go help him like I usually do. And then at the end of the year, Mike's got his big race on there at Oktoberfest or Frosttoberfest.
Yep.
So we'll go do that. We'll go run that one, and then we're going to go back to the colors probably. And as long as we still got a race car by the end of the year, and we'll go run that show as well.
That actually sounds like a pretty good outlook on your year this year. You said this is year 24 for you. So let's dive thinking about that. That's, Megan's turning 26 this year.
That's my
So like Megan was like almost 2 years old when you got started. Sorry, that's the closest comparison I'm making on the show tonight. Going back 24 years ago, how did you get involved in racing and how did you get your start?
Trying to remember back, like it was getting involved in racing. That's kind of when they first started. Like my brother was the first one, and when they first brought junior late models to I guess Canada, you can say, there was 3 original guys that were into it, and it was Joe Chisholm Jr., it was my brother, and actually JR Fitzpatrick. They were the first 3 guys that kind of got into it. We don't have any previous racing history, like no family. We used to go watch the races, and we started off in the junior lates. My brother did it for 3 years before I did, and then I got involved in 19 and ran the junior late model class from 99 till 2006, basically, kind of full time.
Okay.
At 2006, we were my brother moved up to limited late model at Sauble, which was, I guess, most people would, refer to as limited late model, the old Challenger class, they used to call it. And there was no stepping stone. Like, there was really no stepping stone. There was no mini stock class at Sauble Speedway at the time. Like, you couldn't progress. It was basically, you went from pretty much a junior late model, or they had like an enduro class. But we went from junior late models and then just went right to a limited late model at that point in time. Did that for, we could only, as a family run team, we could only really afford to have one, we'll call them big car. So my brother kind of took a step back in 2008, I ran the car invitationals in 2007, and 2008, I started kind of full-time into limited late model at Sauble Speedway. So, wow. Yeah, it was a big jumping stone. It was a big progression. You learned pretty quick.
I was gonna say that is a pretty big gap. You go from like what are they, like a 9 horsepower Honda motor up to, or 13 or something like that, up to like a 602 crate kind of deal.
Well, at that point in time, we didn't have any we didn't have no crate motors. It was all
Right.
built
No.
motors.
Yeah.
It was all built motors. Had a lot of guys helping me out along the way. Just basically guys like Jason Parker. Jason Parker was a big one that helped me out. Tom Gibbons, he's still doing it. There's a lot of guys that helped sit along the way. But like I said, I was at that point in time 16 years old, 17 years old, and racing with a bunch of the big boys. And if you made a mistake, I remember my dad used to make me march my butt down the pit road, and you're 17-year-old kid, and you spun out Tom Gibbons or Jason Parker, and you got to march your butt down to their pit and explain yourself. So it was a big learning curve. It was a great time in racing. There were, great time up at Sauble Speedway at the time. And we kind of hung around Sauble in the limited late model class from 2008 till 2012. Actually, 2012. 2000. We did a lot of invitationals in between there. That was before any big traveling series. We did the Peterborough had their Oktoberfest.
Yep.
Peterborough had their autumn colors. We had the Gary Reynolds at Barrie Speedway. So we did all that. And then finally in 2013, I met my wife in 2011. And then 2013, I went and raced my last year, I guess, limited late model. At that point in time, full time was 2013 at Sunset Speedway.
Wow.
And that's when I made the transition.
And then that's when you transitioned to the mini stock class, right? Or what'd you go to from there?
Well, in 2013, we ran a year at Sunset Speedway. At that point in time, it was the show. Sunset was the show. If you weren't racing at Sunset, there was no sense, that you had to be there kind of thing.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I wasn't going to race in 2000. And when I was done in 2013, I bought a house. Had to worry about, I guess life. You know what I mean? You can't be spending all your money going racing. My wife, she's involved in racing too, but at the same time, you gotta, I guess, like you said, be a grown up. I was done racing. I said, screw it, I'm done racing. I'll help. I'll do whatever, which I'm more than happy to do. And Leslie's, I seen a mini stock for sale on, I don't know, some one of the online things, and I sent it over to my brother-in-law, Warren Paxton. And I said, you should buy this thing. He's like, you should buy it. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't know if it was maybe just, I don't know. I just, no, like force on it. I was never really exposed to it. I was never involved in any of that stuff. I helped out Warren, like Leslie's brother, Warren Paxton there a little bit. Sure enough, bottle of whiskey one night and a few conversations and we owned a mini stock. So, it was just it was what I could afford to do, really, to be honest. I caught a lot of heat for it. I caught a ton of heat. Late model guy racing mini stock and blah 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 blah. You name it, I heard it. But the way I kind of looked at it was I was gonna be at the racetrack regardless. I'd rather support the sport that I love in any way that I could. And I had a ton of fun. Some of the best days I ever had racing in a racetrack was running a mini stock. So it's I ran that from 2014 full time to pretty much, and by full time we just traveled around, ran all the big races, ran whatever. Yep. But ran that from 2014 to I sold it. I think the last year I ran that car was 2020, COVID year, actually. And I sold it at the end of the COVID year. But in between there, I was starting to dabble back into some bigger stuff, that I could afford to do again. And it's just kind of how it all evolved.
I was going to say, because you made some starts in the APC series, and you also, I think, ran the full season the one year, if I remember correctly, or was it just a part-time?
So I started amongst doing all this. Well, I'll back up a bit. Shawn Chenoweth, everybody knows Shawn Chenoweth. Yep. We did a podcast years ago, and made a bet on a podcast doing we are both taking a limited late model. I was taking 2 limited late models to autumn colors, and I was going to run one in the pro late model class. I was going to run one in the limited late model class. and he had a pro late and a limited late, and we threw a bet down on a podcast to whoever had the lowest combined finish. I think it was like $100 or $200 at the time. It's just a little bet. Well,
Yeah.
sure enough, I got going onto that, and we got up to that race, and I threw a little thing up on Facebook like, hey, you know, looking for tire support, because it was at that point in time, it was maybe only $1,400 in tires for 2 sets of tires, but I needed 2 sets of tires for the weekend, and Mike Schmidt and Shawn actually himself both sponsored me 2 tires, and it was kind of where the whole London Rec, Shawn Chenoweth, the whole dynamic started. You know, I just that's where I kind of got the connection started with Mike, and he started on my mini stock. And you know, and that's where I got to learn and know Shawn Chenoweth a little bit more. A lot. I shouldn't say a little more, a lot more. I got to, like I said, I got to know him quite a bit, and that's where it kind of got started back in the APC thing. They had 2 cars, and I did the first year I did 4 starts. I did 2 Sauble starts, a sunset start, and autumn colors is what I did in 2004. And then 2016. And then 2017, we did 5 races. I did 5 races. And then 2017, that's when we ended up winning the one. We won the London Rec 100 in 2017. And it's how all the craziness started.
I was actually going to touch in on the whole, like, how did you and Chenoweth, but like, that's actually a really cool story. How you guys laid it down a bet, and it was like, and then they ended up were the ones sponsoring your tires for that weekend. So it's like how did that work out for you though? Like, so clearly, I guess he won the bet, or did you win the bet?
Well, that's the thing. So he messaged me and said, hey, I'll sponsor you. Me and Mike both are going to sponsor you a tire. And like I said, at that point in time, it was $150 a tire. So
not this like 200, 250.
Oh, I just picked up a set of tires last week for the modified. It was $1,150. I almost like cried. So yeah, so it was a little bit cheaper back in that day. But he literally messaged me and said, I don't want you to have any excuses for losing. I'll sponsor you 2 tires. So I said, okay, that's fine. Appreciate it. Oh, and everybody knows autumn colors. I told him I had a better shot in the limited late model than he did, and he had a better shot in the pro late model. The limited late model, we led the first beginning of the race. And I think I cut a tire down 30 laps in, changed a tire. We come back to like 9th or something. And then the pro late, I think Shawn, I don't know what happened to Shawn. I know we got drinking a lot the night before, which was a big, Shawn don't drink much. So it was a big leg up on me. I had a little bit more experience on that end of things. But I think he finished like 10th or 11th. Then we ran the pro late model race. Me and Bentley were running like 1-2 the whole race. I ended up getting wrecked by Mercer, but I think Chenoweth wrecked out before I did. So I ended up winning the bet anyways. So it all worked out in the end.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So that's the stories I like we need to bring out too.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing. It was just you know, I've met some of the best people I've ever, you know, met in life. Some of my best friends are from racing, and I had my mini stock, and I had a bit of, like, you know, we ran pretty good. And when you're going from running a late model and then going to a mini stock, and the cost differential, it you know, I wasn't asking for major money from sponsors like I was, and that was the whole Mike Schmidt thing. We're kind of where it started. They had a big Kawartha Nationals for mini stock. Yeah. And I threw a London Rec sticker on literally the skirt of my car. And it was a spare that I had in my toolbox from the other race. And Mike Schmidt called me. He was at Kawartha and said, basically approached me and said, hey, we got a problem. And I said, what's the problem? And he goes, you're running my name on your car. And I said, hey man, I was just appreciative that you helped me out before, everything like that, you know. And he's like, no, like, you're running my name in your car and I ain't helping you out at all. And I'm like, oh, okay, we can get this working. And that's kind of how it all, like I said, that's kind of how the whole Mike Schmidt thing started. And it's developed to a crazy, awesome relationship that it is today. And, you know, it's crazy how things can change.
Absolutely. Cause like that, I like hearing feel good stories like that as well. Cause like, you know, for you and Mike Schmidt to get hooked up like that, because first of all, everything Mike does for motorsports, from Frosttoberfest to sponsoring races at Flamborough to putting his name on almost like I can't even count how many cars. It's just incredible the support he puts into local racing, and how even the drivers that you know, like yourself, Shawn, the Balsons, whoever.
Yep.
You guys are always out there. Like, if there's an event that LRR is putting on, you guys are out there promoting the crap out of it. Say, like, get your butts to those seats, get those cars out of the garages, get them to the track. And first of all, I love seeing that, because that's a big premise on our end, is that we don't want to see cars sitting in garages or in barns. We want these cars to be on the track.
Yep.
At the end of the day, because who knows where the sport's going to be in 20 years? Maybe all these awesome cars we got are going to be in the barns because we got no place to race.
That's right.
And
You're not wrong.
None of us want that.
Nope. I agree 100%. I've been around long enough now, and I'm only 33 now, but I've been around long enough now that I've seen you see the evolutions and the changes of the sport and everything like that. And we're not gaining racetracks, we're losing racetracks.
Yeah.
And that's just a reality of it. So, I remember when Barrie Speedway closed. Everybody was like, oh, Sunset's going to be packed. Well, yeah, it was for 4 years, 5 years. And then it slowly dwindles down a little bit again. It's the sport is not cheap. And the amount of people out there that can afford to do it is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then it goes back to the amount of sponsorship too. The amount of people that can afford sponsors that can afford to hand out money for us to do this kind of stuff. It's everybody's gotta support it the most they possibly can. 100%.
So actually, this is gonna lead to my next question that I just thought about while you're answering that. What do you think as racers in tracks can do to help better promote the sport?
Better promote the sport. Okay. I don't know. I see it right now, and I will say one of the big reasons I went to Sunset, obviously I moved, my wife was down here, I lived down here, but I remember I left. I didn't even go to the last night at Sauble Speedway in 2012 because Sunset Speedway at that point in time did such a great job at promoting it that I made me feel like I didn't want to miss out. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to miss out from the big show. If you look at this year, their promotions are off the charts. They're
Absolutely.
They're on the social media. They're doing a great job with that. They're doing little polls, stuff like that, allowing people to sell their gear up at the front. Every little last piece that they're doing, lap sponsors, everything. I can tell you, I was a part of. We ended up winning it. I won the biggest mini stock race that's ever been put on in Ontario, and it was. I walked out of there one night at Sunset City with like $2,800.
Wow.
And it wasn't the promote. And in all honesty, it wasn't. At that point in time, Mark Dilly and Brian Toddish just forking money out. That was just promoters and guys out hustling to basically get the money. It was the only mini stock race I've seen that I've been to that had a D main. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It was 53 cars showed up for a Thursday night show. Like, crazy. But like I said, the promotions, you got to have a strong social media presence. But I can also say, and this is a big one for me, I've raced at a lot of racetracks in Ontario. If it is a very, very big thing for a racetrack owner or a racetrack promoter to come down at the end of the night and have a beer with you. Or you wreck your race car. Are you okay? How's everything going? Is there any way I can help you out? I'm not saying they need to pay you or anything like that. Hey, you wrecked your mini stock, your bone stock last week. Let me get you a tire. People don't forget that stuff. Whether it's $100, $150, $200, whatever it is. I want to feel like I can walk in I'm walking the gate and, you're wanted at that point in time, because at the end of the day, we need racetracks, but just as much as we need racetracks need drivers too.
I 100% agree. Now, I've been applauding Sunset all freaking off season from some of the announcement they've been doing. And I'm gonna be honest, the one thing I've been a big preacher over here and of getting drivers their apparel to that grandstand side. I Megan can attest to this. I have been pushing that and talking about it on here for so long. I feel like I'm a broken record sometimes because the announcers never know if a driver has apparel on them.
Yep.
So they can't be going at the end of the night going, why don't you guys head over to the pits? Andy Kamrath, Megan Mitchell, they got apparel over in their trailers. You can't throw off that same ring as if, hey, why don't you guys head on down to the souvenir trailer where you guys can go pick up your race winner, Andy Kamrath's brand new t-shirt.
Yep.
Right? Like the Sunset has been doing everything this year that I've been wanting to see from a track for so long. And I'm planning to go to Sunset for a race or two this year to go hang out with a couple of our drivers because one of Sunset Speedway and what they're trying to promote. I'm even trying to convince the fiance about going to Sunset for the Pinty's race.
Yep.
I'm trying to convince her to go.
And that's the thing. You're right.
I'm love seeing this because like on my end, like that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to promote the sport by doing this podcast, by promoting our list of drivers here in a way that is different compared to what the tracks are doing. That's my end goal here, is trying to help promote the drivers who are doing stuff different. But Sunset Speedway has now taken, not what I'm doing obviously, but have taken what they could have been doing and now elevating it, and I'm loving to see it, especially the most popular driver they just did.
Yep.
How cool of an opportunity is that? Like it's straight through Twitter. So if you didn't have Twitter, that sucks. But it also brought people and followed them on their Twitter account.
Yep. 100%.
Drivers got extra exposures. We're always talking about, if you talk to sponsorship gurus, they're always talking about return on investments for your sponsors. The track's got to help. In my opinion, track's got to help with that. And with doing a most popular driver, they're working with that.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, you tell me if I'm wrong. I've never raced a day in my life. I don't know much of this stuff. I'm just going by what I see.
You're right. You're 100% right. With anything you can do to promote drivers and promote business is great. What Sunset's doing with them, like I said, the merch, it's great. What another thing, and I've kind of, people have asked me about it before. I remember when I was racing, or maybe when I first started racing late model, or we'll say something like that. And giving some of the excitement and making everybody, it don't matter. Guess what? It don't matter if you race a bone stock, you race a mini stock, a super stock, a super late model. I don't care. Every butt that comes in that back gate, guess what? We all pay the same price to come in the back gate. Allowing your Sunset's got a cool setup where the grandstand's kind of split. Hey,
yep.
One night, park all the junior late models on the front stretch and make all the junior late model kids walk out through the grandstands in the front stretch and announce them as they come out. Mm-hmm. It's something cool, and I don't care what anybody says. Allowing that little bit that little 9-year-old. I know my 6-year-old kid would be just vibrating to do that because it'd be the coolest thing. Yeah, we do it when we race the higher classes, and it's more of an expectation. But racing a super stock, racing a bone stock. How many times did the actual, like you said, the people from the grandstands make their self over to the pits afterwards? I hang around the pits all night afterwards because A, I like to drink beer, and B, I talk to a lot of people too. But at the same time, how many butts in the grandstand see the faces and see the drivers of every class every night? They don't know from a personal level. It's just one more thing. Frisbee tosses, or letting kids pick a frisbee or whatever, and that's where you're going to start that night. Fan engagement, that is a big thing. And I remember racing there when I first went to Sunset in 2013. The place was packed.
Yeah,
every night. It was crazy. Like, it was even, they did crazy stuff like selling dilly dogs, or they had the dilly dog 75. Like, it's ridiculous, but it was cool. And
absolutely.
people talk about it.
And You're right though. Like it's fan engagement. Like I think we just talked about it last week on the show, Megan. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
I think I was
Yeah.
even stating like we need to see once a month. Give a division the night to their for their feature, especially Sunset, because you have the heats, you have the features. So the features are that special moment. Whereas Flavor, unfortunately, we do the double features, so it's
Yep.
a little bit harder. But you give that division a night, get their crews to bring their cars out on the track, line them up where they need to be, and get those guys to march their butts through the grandstands, like you said.
Yep.
Get those guys announced because how like, Megan runs a bone stock, right?
Mhm.
Megan, how cool would it be for your team to bring the car out on track, get all the drivers over behind the grandstands, and for one night you guys come out through that opening, or come down from turn one or something, and you wave to the crowd as you're going to your car.
I'd be ecstatic. So, like I was just about to say, I remember even my aunt's always in the grandstand on the fan side. I'd go out there like in my fire suit to go talk to her and my cousins quick, and just seeing people looking at me like, oh my God, like that's a driver. And then they'd start talking to me and asking me questions about what car I drive. And I'm like, they don't actually know who I am, because like the track doesn't really give that. So it's like, it'd be cool to actually see the drivers. And I mean, it's a good feeling for the drivers too.
You kind of sometimes put that. I don't want to say, and I know I'm guilty of it sometimes, because it's the way I look at racing and I look at a lot of things. It's a hobby for me. It is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think I'm. When I wake up every day, I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like anybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
And and sometimes I get a little bit blind to the fact that I don't realize that, hey, you know what, there probably is that 10, 12-year-old kid that's sitting in the grandstand that's like, oh my God, there's so and so and whatever, and you just walk past them like it ain't nothing. It's a big thing, and it just, the more of that engagement, more of that everything, it's awesome. I've had more people come and bring their kid and want to sit in the car or whatever, and yeah, whatever, I don't care, bring your kid down, sit in the car, and I've said to the parent, hey, you want a beer? Like, do you want a beer, or you know what I mean? Like, I'll talk to anybody, and it's just, you gotta do that stuff. If the tracks want us to continue, and we want to continue, everybody's got to be all hands on deck.
I can't agree more, and I'm sure we can continue going on talking about this. But I do want to. Sorry, we got on that
Yeah.
topic. It is a great topic to discuss, even, because again, you're right. We're losing tracks. We need to be the ones who, sorry, not me, but drivers and everyone else, and tracks and everything need to be on the same page here to get that fan engagement, to get that. I'm going to add an extra one here: community involvement. That's
Yep.
the other thing too, because sometimes people don't know you're even there.
Yep.
If you're not involved in the community, no one's going to know you're there.
100%.
But there's so much more we can obviously discuss about that. And I feel like we may need to have a whole conversation about that on another episode or something.
Yeah.
I mean, even we got a good friend of ours who's starting up a podcast here soon as well, and I think that'd be a great topic to discuss with him on. Brandon Feeney's starting a new podcast called The Feeney Show, or The Feeney Call.
Yeah.
I think we went over. Me and Brandon have gone over that. I think that would be a perfect conversation for you guys to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So get a hold of him, see if you can get on his guest list, because he's going to start that show coming soon. As we move forward here, so I'm going to be honest. When I first heard of you, you were just absolutely dominating mini stocks. In my opinion, every time I saw a race winner at any event in Ontario, it was Andy Kamrath.
Yep.
I want to know what you took from the late models, running late models, going to mini stocks. What was something that you took from running late models, going to mini stocks? What did you take and ran with that to make your mini stocks better?
It's funny because it's a lot of people always said, "Oh, I ran a Honda Civic. It's a front wheel drive. It ain't rear wheel drive. It's completely off in left field." But a lot of people are always like, "Oh, he's putting late model setups in his mini stock." It's like, okay, that doesn't work.
That wouldn't work.
The biggest thing that I can say that I did was it doesn't matter if you run a late model or a mini stock, there's basic concepts of what you do. And the unfortunate part is, and I don't want to say this is the broad spectrum of all mini stock racing. A lot of guys will load their car up at the end of the night and not touch it again until the next week. It is a broad bunch of them, or they don't want to change things. Like I've been to a mini stock race and I've had 4 springs out on the ground at the racetrack just because I could already be the fastest car on the track, but I know I could get a little bit more out of it. Having that general knowledge of what a putting a spring here does to the car, what does it affect to the wedge. It was a lot of basic stuff that I did, really. Just de-wedging the car or running big. The car was tight. Well, if the car was tight, I would just keep stacking right rear spring to the car, and like to the point where like, and people are like, there's no way, and I wouldn't lie to them, there's no way you're running that much right rear spring. And I'm like, yeah I am. And it was just stuff like that, or little simple things of alignment and setting my toe up, but not just setting your front toe, setting your rear toe and making the car dog track and little stuff like that, that I learned. And from the late model days, like I remember when we used to scale or do any of our toe or anything on our late models, used to always line up the right side tires. And then we would tuck the left rear in or out, depending on how we wanted the car. Like you keep tucking it towards the center line of the car to make the car turn. I did the same thing on my mini stock. It was no different. Like I would change rim offsets on the car to make the car turn. Or, I got mad one night and the car was just tight and it would get tight over a long run. I put a bigger offset in the right rear and made the right rear hang out even more just to make it do what I wanted it to do. That was just the biggest thing. And it was having the knowledge already from previous years to basically know the changes I needed to do in the car. That was kind of thing. Know the direction I wanted to go would be maybe the better part.
Okay. See, that's always a curious thing for me, because like I've walked by yourself, I've walked by Will Gibbons as well, and you guys could be the top of the board, and you guys are thrashing underneath the cars, trying to get maybe another 10th out of the car.
Yep. And
I get that, because like it's such a competitive sport that if you don't find that extra 10th, that guy is going to catch, and the guy behind you finds that 10th, he's going to catch you and pass you.
Yep.
And a guy like yourself, I'm sure you don't like to be beat.
No, absolutely not.
No one likes to lose. We all get into racing to win. We don't want to lose.
Yep.
So, obviously trying to find that 10th is, or even a 10th is just always so difficult to find. So it's crazy to now understand why you did what you did. So I'll be honest, I was one of those guys who were like, man, I don't know what the hell he's doing over there. Like, he's already fast on the board. Like, what the hell's he doing? I'm going to be honest. I've walked by you and I'm like, you're fast. What the hell are you doing?
It's the adage of never being satisfied, I guess. I've had lots of people say, you're top of the board. You're 0.2 seconds faster. Oh, okay. But your butt tells you everything in a race car. It will tell you absolutely everything you need to know. And that was one of the biggest things. I'm probably getting off on something else, but the biggest things I've learned over the years is actually when you're driving a race car. When I was younger, I just wanted to go out and bust a lap and be the fastest guy out there. That's great, but you ain't learning nothing. It's really taking a step back and really, what's the car saying to you? What is it doing? Think about what it's doing, and then you can make more educated decisions. And that's kind of when I started doing that in mini stock. And then I really hyper focused in on that throughout the years with Chenoweth, like really hyper focused in on that. Just what's the car actually doing? We'll just drive it to turn a fast lap. Let's turn consistent fast laps.
Yeah, because I that's the thing is you want to be fast for that qualifying. If you do single car qualifying or group qualifying, whatever, you want to have that one fast lap. But if you're running a 40 lap race, you got to be consistent over 40 laps. You can't just go run. I'm just gonna throw out a random number, 19.5 on lap 3 because the tires finally got the heat in. But by lap 25, you're now running like a 20.4.
Yep.
Like, you don't want to see that huge fall. I don't know if that's actually what actually happened in a mini stock or anything like that, but that's the number I'm throwing out there. But if you can consistently run, let's say 19.7s, you get the pole with a 19.5, you got that, but you can consistently run 19.7s where, you know, you'll stay up front.
You're way further off.
Yeah. See, this is what I wanted to, I've been wanting to actually bring you on for quite a while because one, I crewed for a guy who bought one of the cars that you ran.
Yeah. Okay. Which one?
Michael Kenny.
Yeah.
So the one I think Ryder has now.
Okay.
I can't remember the guy's name. He was running the 88 junior late. He's now going to mini stock.
So that would have been the red. I go by chassis. I would run a red chassis. I remember originally.
I think it was red.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got stuck in that car actually one night. I'm not a small boy, and we were trying to figure out a wiring issue one night, and my feet were where Michael's head would have been, and my head was where his feet would have been. Got a little stuck. When you're round, you don't bend.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you know, Michael had that car for I think 2 seasons, I think.
Okay, yeah.
So it was 2018 and 2019. Because 2019 is when he wrecked it opening night, and that's when I was like, I'm done with racing.
Okay, yeah.
You know, even going over that car, I was like, he's like, man, this is a good car. This is a Kamrath car. I'm looking over like, what was he doing with this thing? Like, it was just like just seeing everything that I could see under there. That I was like, I don't even know where to touch. I don't know what to look at like right now because it's just. I almost been messaging you. Was like, hey man, like how the hell do you do this?
I just did crazy things. Believe me, I did the craziest things. Like, I think a stock. I may be talking out of tone, but I think a stock Honda spring was like 185 pounds or something like that, maybe 200 pounds.
Yep.
I think I had upwards of a 1,200 pound spring in the right rear. Like, it was crazy. And people thought I was insane. And it's like, they're like, that's not going to work. And it's like, oh, okay, I'll come see you. Come see me at the end of the night. You want to come have a beer at the end of the night? Come see you at the end of the night. And it was just what we did. It was crazy stuff we did. And it didn't work for everybody, but that's what we did.
And that's the thing is, you know, something that Megan runs, you may run in with like, what the hell are you doing?
And that's the thing, and I've heard it a lot over the years, and people are like, I'll tell anybody, I'll help anybody. It doesn't really, like I said, it doesn't matter who you are. People are like, I'm too intimidated to come talk to you. You're actually a nice guy, and I'm like, I've never talked to you in my life. You're, you know what I mean? You're maybe intimidated for something else you may have heard, or because I ran another class. I'll help pretty much anybody. There's a lot of guys that still run mini stock that are like, hey, what would you do here? What would you do here? And I'm like, I would do this, you know, and it's, there's lots of guys that I still help out. I help out, and by all means, I am not a be all and end all, because I still got a lot to learn, and I've learned a lot over the years, but, anywhere I can help, I've always tried to.
That's always good to hear, is that, you know, if guys need help, you're willing to more than willing to help.
Absolutely.
As we move forward here, you know, you've been running the OSCAAR Modified for the past 2 seasons, I guess.
Ooh, I did it part-time in 2019. I did it part-time, and then pretty much 2020 on forward, I've been full-time in it.
So how did that deal come about for you to get essentially out of the mini stock and into the modified?
Well, as kind of the relationship changed, I shouldn't say changed, developed with me and Shawn and Mike. I did that 2017 APC.
Yep.
Had a lot of good, strong runs. Then in 2018, Shawn's like, hey, man, do you want to split a Thunder car with, I think it was Jake Watson at the time.
Yep.
And we won everything. We won everything in that. And Shawn's just crazy smart with those things. Like, he's crazy smart in general with race cars, but like, we go to any racetrack, we'd be top of the board again. And that's where I had to really rely on his, you know what I mean, his expertise on that. And he taught me a ton. But we won that year. We won, like I said, you name it, we won it.
Yep.
We went back 2019, and he ended up buying Bentley's Grand American car, and we ran it a little bit. When I ran at the end of the year, I ended up wrecking it. And then we fixed over the winter and did a little bit of running with that. Then partway through that year, He had a modified that he was working on. Said to me, "Hey man, you want to run it one night at sunset?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Like, I always kind of had my eye on modifieds, and we went out and swept the night with it. Though the first time we jumped in the car, we swept the night, won both heats, won the feature, and just demoed everybody. And I think we ran the rest of that year. We won every single feature the rest of that year with the car, except for the one night. I'll never live it down. I drove in the back of a lap car at Flamborough, and but yeah, ever since then we've had great success with it. Shawn, like I said, Shawn helps me a ton with it. It's but it's a really fun car to drive. It's a really fun class, really great people, and it's just never really left it.
So this is gonna, I'm taking off my Joe Media hat, and I'm gonna put on my CVM hat here for a second, because you said you always had an eye on modifieds. What would it take for you to get behind the wheel of a Canadian vintage modified?
Over there one night. I'll pretty much drive anything. Like I'm pretty good as long as if it's a safe piece. I'll pretty much drive anything. I've hit my head enough times over the years driving race cars. I don't need to do it too much anymore. So, but as long as it's a safe place, like I said, I pretty much would drive pretty much anything. The only thing I've ever really scratched off the list is I'd love to drive a Can-Am midget just to say I've done it, but I don't ever want to race one.
You know what? I agree with that, because those, I don't know what it is about those guys. They're just a whole extra other animal.
Yeah, like I said, I've gotten enough wrecks over the years. I think that might be a little over the edge.
I'd 100% agree. So, I think we're gonna get into our fan question period, presented by Taylor to You Media and Design. You ready to answer some questions there for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Megan, you want to take it away?
I'm ready. The first one's from Michael Wallace, and he said, "What is something you've always struggled with in the car from the start of your racing career?"
Ooh, struggled with in the car from patience. And I don't want to say patience from an aggression point of view. I would say waiting for a race, like when I started running like longer races, waiting for a race to come to you. I know it bit me in the butt a few times around APC races where, come lap 60 and you got no tires left on the car because you drove it. That was probably the biggest thing, is just kind of dialing yourself back and having enough patience to kind of let the race play out for you, I guess. Let the race come to you. I'd say that.
Mm-hmm. And he also asked, what is one thing that's always been or come natural?
Always been and come natural. I would say communication in a race car. I've always been very, very good to communicate what I think a car is doing. Whether I communicate it the right way, if anybody sees me at the racetrack and I'm talking to Shawn or somebody else, I talk a lot with my hands, or I wiggle my butt, because that's kind of what I'm feeling in the car, and drive somebody else talking to a race car. But I've always been very, very good, I feel, on communicating what the car is doing, and it's worked out really good for me. Obviously, having good feedback.
Chris Pendlebury said, "What's your plans for this season?"
Well, Chris Pendlebury is pretty much boyfriends with, good buddies with TJ Edwards, and they don't believe me. But I am racing Sunset. I'm going to race Sunset. I'm going to come to OSCAAR a little bit, but we are committed to Sunset Speedway. And then on my off nights, I'm going to be, I'll be working with Chenoweth and obviously Ryland.
He also said, "Who is some of the toughest competitors in the modified series?"
Obviously, TJ's been pretty good. He's got good help. He's got good equipment. He's got Brian McDonald helping him. He's a good driver. He's been pretty tough. AJM's he's been pretty tough across a lot of the races that we race in. I would say he's a pretty tough competitor as well. Trying to think who else really that's been really tough. There's a good group of guys that are like, Jason Keane and Dale Reinhardt, and them kind of guys are tough. But those, I would say, between AJ and TJ, they were probably head and neck above the rest.
And William_Trillium asked, what is the biggest moment of your career?
I would say biggest moment of my career. Okay, I would say it's kind of a tie between winning the London Rec 100 in the APC car. That was probably biggest win / probably winning the championship last year. I ran for all the years, and the first championship I ever won was last year. So I would say that's a pretty big moment, between those two.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that's going to wrap up our fan question period. We want to thank Taylor to You Media and Designs for sponsoring that segment of the show, and of course, we want to thank Andy for taking the time and answering those questions for us.
Yeah, no problem.
So we kind of already dodged a few of our closing points here, as we like to usually do. We usually like to ask you about what your plans are for 2023, but of course, we've already done that a couple times. So we're going to give you the floor here for a couple of minutes to thank anyone you can think of, your sponsors, your family, your dog from when you were 6. You gotta, yeah, we'll give it. We'll open the floor.
It's funny you say dog, because I didn't Carson Hosever last night thank his dog when he won.
Did he?
It was last night the truck race. Yeah, he thanked his dog when he won. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, your dog? Like, don't get me wrong, I love my dogs. I guess I
gotta find that video.
Yeah, but it's like, you thank your dog? I'm like, come on. But no, I don't know. It's just sponsors like Mike Schmidt. He's helped me out a lot over the years. Mike Schmidt, I got Dave Seaton at Seaton Structures. He's helped me out quite a bit, and a lot of the guys that helped me out have been with me for a long time. Dennis at AP Engines. I got Humberview, Scotty at Humberview. That's another relationship that's developed through buddies, and Paul Pepper and all them guys. They're helping us out with the engine program this year. Image Rafts, my family. I got a pretty badass looking modified, and it's thanks to them guys. Corey at 2Speed, he's helped us out a lot as well, and he's pretty fun to be around the racetrack as well, and we've helped out his program, so that's pretty big. Who else do I got there? I got lots. I think that's the majority of them. Obviously Mike and all them, and then just guys around the racetrack. Like, obviously I got Shawn Chenoweth. I would say, since the relationship I've been with Shawn, he's taught me a lot over the years. He's taught me a lot of stuff. It's made me a better race car driver, so I definitely got to thank him out, and his whole family too as well. And there's Bob, and Bob helps me out wherever he can, and it's a pretty good deal. And Scott Shaw's helped me out a lot. I got all my like my family as well, my wife and my little guy, and Paul Pepper helps me out when he can. Chris Luco helps me out. Brandon Johnston. I got a ton of guys. I got a ton of guys that help me out, and we're just gonna keep this rocking and rolling down the road. Hopefully, as long as we can.
Sounds good. Well, of course, we're next up, where can they find you on social media to follow you throughout the season and to keep up to date with you?
So pretty much the biggest thing social media is just my Facebook page. I'm still committed to a little bit of Facebook. I do the Instagram. I try and get on Twitter, but I'm not as big on Twitter as maybe I should be. That's the biggest way to keep up with me. We'll be racing at Sunset, and like I said, we'll definitely run Mike's race there and Autumn Colors at the end of the year, and you may see us do a surprise pop up at a couple of OSCAAR races to make him let him know we can still get the job done.
Awesome, man. Sounds good. Well, we're not going to take up any more of your night. We want to thank you for joining us this week on the True North Racing Podcast.
No problem. Anytime, guys.
Hopefully we'll see you at a track this summer.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Bye now.
All right, talk to you.
All right, guys. That was Andy Kamrath. Man, that was such a cool conversation we had with him. And even afterwards, I'm going to be honest, guys, there is so much stuff Megan, Andy, and myself we talked about. I already gave him a freaking invite to come back next off season, because there's so much more we can talk about. And I think I said I got to get him over to Feeney as well, because I think that would be a great conversation over there too.
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much we can talk about, and he was such a there was so much good things that we talked about that need to happen.
Yeah, he's really
And,
knowledgeable.
you know, I'm gonna be honest. I was one of those guys who absolutely hated him in his mini stock days when we were racing against him.
Yeah.
But after hearing this, what he was doing to help the car turn and do the, now I understand more. Right? So like now I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't actually hate the guy. He's actually pretty cool dude. Pretty cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
But man, he can wheel a car. He can, you know, it's that is a guy we need in the sport. He's a guy who's gonna push the sport along, and we need to see more of him. Like it's man, it's gonna be such a great we wish him all the best in 2023 up at Sunset, and let the OSCAAR boys know that he still has it, right? On a couple trips this year. We're gonna wrap up the show here. There's not really too much we really need to go over. I would like to announce that Jacqueline and myself are 52 weeks and 6 days out.
Holy.
From our wedding in 2024. Holy crap. It is getting close. We're a year out and it's still just
I feel like it's gonna fly by.
it's gonna fly by. There's so much shit. There's so much stuff we're gonna have that's gonna happen and stuff, and next it's gonna be April 6th, 2024, and we're all like, what the fuck happened? Oh man. But I want to just put that out there as a reminder to everyone. Make sure I don't think there's really too much. We will not be on the air next weekend. We are taking next weekend off. So before we get any further along, happy Easter to everyone. Hopefully the Easter Bunny treated you well. And if not, well, I'm sorry. Other than that, I got nothing else. Megan, what about you?
I got nothing.
All right, why don't you send us home then?
Alrighty. Thank you for listening to the True North Racing podcast. You can stay up to date on everything going on by following on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to keep up to date on all the latest content. For John Morrison, I'm Megan Mitchell, and we'll see you guys next time, I guess.
See you guys.
See ya.
Let's go.